My people, welcome back to the channel. I'm back with another trending topic in Nigeria. So today matter go shock you. The truth where many people they hide don't finally show. Dele Farotimi, the fearless advocate, don't talk the hidden truth about Nigerian pastors and what then they really do. So it be like say the question no be if then they serve God, but who them really they serve. So hello my people. If you don't ever wonder about the connection between church, money and power for Niger, now this video you guys watch. Dele Farotimi don't expose many things where it go make you rethink everything where you sabi about pastors for this country. So make I allow now watch the video, but before then, if you are new to this channel, click on the red subscribe button to subscribe to our channel. Turn on the notification bell so that you won't miss any of our updates. Like this video so that YouTube will recommend it to others, and drop your opinion on the comment section below.
So I posted something, I believe it was earlier today, where I was speaking about how I find it difficult that some people who do not benefit from the existing order, who may even be said to be the first line victim of the existing order, the poorest of the poor, those against whom weaponized poverty and ignorance has fully come full cycle, they are sometimes the most vociferous defenders of those who have brought them into the sorry paths that they have found themselves. And so I have made a distinction between these ones and their enslavers. So I tend to refer to them in the Buhari days. I made a distinction between the Buharists and the Buhari Didirins. The Buhari Didirins of that time may be said to be today's bat idiots. And a quick distinction must be made between the bat idiot and the Baptist. The Baptist is conscious about the choices that they have made, the moral compromises that they have made, because they are beneficiaries from Jagaban PLC. They benefit from the evil that they have normalized. And they cut across all ethnicities, all faiths. You find them even at the pulpits, both in the mosques and in the churches. Those are Baptists. I can understand them. The moral ambiguity that worried the Buharists does not exist in their own cases. They really do not have that moral ambiguity behind which to hide any longer. So there is no ambiguity about who they are, but they benefit. So it is easy to understand their commitment to the preservation of the existing order. And there are a lot of them. They are the principal beneficiaries of this system. But it becomes a whole lot more difficult to understand in reality the evil that has come to afflict the persons that one may easily call bat idiots. But I just wanted to drop that since we are in church early. Oh, sorry, I know some of you. And then that brings me to the second part. I think we've been doing this for like 2-3 years now. Every Sunday, same time. Constantly, we've been doing this same time. And since that time, I've had a lot of you telling me of your preference for a time outside of the 10 a.m. on Sunday that I had settled on before I started out. So let me try and answer you once again. I was a religious person once upon a time, and I had a lot of respect, and I still have a lot of respect for religious sensibilities. But you see, the thing is this: I'm a morning person. I function best in the morning, and I like dealing with each and every one of the things that will require patience and deep concentration early in the day. So ordinarily, Sunday is a very, very good day for me to do what I do. It has nothing against the Christian community, even though I have a lot against the Christian church in Nigeria, or shall I say the church in Nigeria. So it's not something that is deliberately targeted. But if you also understand the fact that you're always at liberty to come back at your convenience, whenever, it doesn't even have to be Sunday, to come and listen to this. So let's just get that out of the way. It is not something done deliberately to slight or denigrate. But frankly speaking, I believe that the pulpit of God exists beyond the boundaries of the religious houses. If you're in the marketplace and you see fit to speak truth in the marketplace, you're preaching God. If you are online, as I am, and you're preaching truth, as I try my best to, I'm also preaching God. So, like the Yorubas will say, Ojo ọ̀run kò tẹ̀yẹ fò láì ní fapá kanra wọn. Some churches are full to the brim today, preaching lies. Just as some mosques were full to the brim on Friday, equally preaching the lies. It's not my business what each and every one of them elect to preach. But the high of the sky is big enough for all the birds to fly war and gengetically without clashing with each other. So, once again, enjoy it whenever your time is available to you. So, I see we still have a couple of minutes, so I must touch on the unfortunate incident that happened, at least has been reported, where an EFCC operative was shot dead somewhere in the east. The details are still quite scanty, and it's impossible to speak with any certainty to any of these things, but it does raise a question. What manner of operation imperiled the officer's life, even as it imperiled the lives of those that they claimed they have sworn to protect as officers of the law? Some deep soul searching are required in our country, and we should be honest enough with ourselves to admit to this, courageous enough with ourselves to address them. May God rest the dead. And yeah, may this truly give some effect to the directive that had been given in 2023 November, that all these night operations should cease. There is no reason under the sun why government officers, law enforcement agencies should act in a manner not dissimilar to those of criminals. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to today's sermon. Well, don't worry, very soon we'll be telling you where to drop your tithes and offering, and I don't believe that would be out of place. But more importantly, this morning I would like us to speak to a subject that I have titled, Because You Spoke. Yeah. Because you spoke. You know, there is a popular parlance where we say that everything after the but is bullshit. That's when you say, oh, I like the guy, or I like the girl, or I like the business proposal, or it's not a bad idea, but once you say but, more often than not, that's the end of what you were busy eulogizing just before. You were just about to start tearing down whatever that thing might be. So we came up with it that time. We said, okay, so everything after the but is bullshit. But I didn't say but, you spoke. Nah. I said because you spoke. This phrase for me came up, I believe the first time it came up was when I gave my first lecture upon release from my holiday in Ekiti prison. I had something entirely different prepared to deliver that morning. But I found myself overwhelmed because I came to the realization that even though the proverb that anchored my prepared sermon, I was completely correct in my original translation or interpretation, but my situation was a little too unique for me to have appropriated some self-glorification. Let me explain. The anchor verse for my message that morning was a Yoruba proverb that says, Emu, Eki, Biteron Reko. Properly translated, that proverb is saying that you do not grab a porcupine in the same manner in which you would grab a rabbit. In grabbing a rabbit, you need not be careful with the quills, the spikes on it. You had no problem with that. It's just a soft-bodied animal, so you grab it all fluffy and everything, and you come to no harm. But when you grab a porcupine with all the spikes and quills, you're definitely going to be horribly injured. Now, the first time I used this proverb was when I was in the bus of my abductors heading to Ekiti, because I understood clearly that I had the hammer of truth all over me and that I was going to end up unscathed. But here is the issue. By the time I wanted to use that proverb again in my sermon that morning, I came to the realization of the fact that actually the only reason my case was any different from that of the average Nigerian and why it turned out the way it did turn out is because you spoke. It has very little to do with me as a person. Nigeria has dealt with better men than myself. I found out in prison, and I'll deal with that some other time. I'll write that memoir at some other time. But I found whilst I was in prison that there are by far better human beings than myself who are inside the Nigerian prison system. I found that Nigeria has victimized and successfully dealt with better men than myself. Better resourced persons than myself have been dealt with by Nigeria. Nigeria has killed better men. Nigeria has destroyed better men. Nigeria has wrongly incarcerated better men. There is nothing about me that should make my case any different from that of those who have come before me. But you spoke. And it was the realization that you found the capacity to speak that made me lose control of my emotions. You spoke. So yeah, because you spoke. What is the use of because here? It's a conjunction. It's the explanation for the exception. For the reason that you spoke. Yeah. Yorubas will say that àìlè sọ̀rọ̀ ó ní ìbẹ̀rẹ̀ orí burúkú. Let me repeat myself. Àìlè sọ̀rọ̀ ó ní ìbẹ̀rẹ̀ orí burúkú. The inability to speak to your condition is the beginning of ruination. You must be able to speak to your condition for that condition to change. I have had occasion to speak to the subject when I said talk is not cheap. Talk is not cheap. Never ever say that talk is cheap. Talk is the beginning of the articulation of your thoughts and the beginning of the likelihood of you acting to effect changes to your condition and your situation. So talk you must. And yes, you spoke. If an individual's refusal to speak to his condition dooms him to ruination, what do you think happens when a collective ignores to speak to their condition? That is the picture you see all over Nigeria today. But in my case, you spoke. You spoke. You carried no guns. The states and my abductors have the guns. But you spoke. You refused to make peace with the evil you saw unfolding before you. You spoke. You spoke. And it is important that we do not ever give up on speaking, however difficult or costly speaking might be, on the condition that you speak the truth. Truth is the only bullet by which you may kill the evil system that rules or ruins Nigeria. But the truth you know that you do not speak. You stand behind the pulpit of God and you speak lies and palliatives. Maybe I should say lies and palliatives. Behind the pulpit of God, where you are called to speak the truth. Of what use are your speakings?